Hello! Today I'm in the kitchen because I'm going to be making a recipe out of this cookbook. It is called Entice with Spice. I bought this cookbook when I was in DeLand. I bought it at I think it's like an art museum gift shop, but it's an Indian cookbook and I don't have an Indian cookbook. Well, I didn't, but I do now. And it says easy and quick Indian recipes for beginners, which is necessary because I find Indian food to be slightly intimidating. However, it is maybe the most like comforting cuisine that I have found that I like to eat, and I would like to learn to cook more of it. I have a really good butter chicken recipe, and then like I can make something like tikka masala without a problem. However, I have really been craving rice lately. We are doing the keto diet, so we're not eating rice or pasta. And so today I'm going to be doing a chicken, I think it's pronounced biryani. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to be making a chicken biryani recipe. But I'm gonna be trying it with cauliflower rice instead of regular rice. So I don't know if this is gonna work. This is a recipe testing video. I have not made this before. I am going to see if the cauliflower rice will work with this recipe. But let me show you, I've got my ingredients out. So let me show you what I've got out and then we'll get started actually cooking. I'm excited to try this. I hope it turns out well. We'll see. So here is the recipe in the book, and you can see that they not only have you making the chicken and the rice, but also the spice mix. So there are 3 different components to this recipe, and I'm going to be altering 2 of them because I'm making cauliflower rice. I did get the regular rice out just to show you. I'm not going to be using regular rice, but I'm also not making the spice mix the way that they say because I don't have the whole spices. I have whole fennel seeds, but I don't have whole coriander or whole cloves or whole cardamom pods. So over here I have, actually this goes with this. Okay, now I've got things sorted. So this is gonna go into the spice mix. I have my fennel, coriander, cardamom, cloves, and that is cinnamon in there. And this is for the spice mix over here. Over here, this is for my chicken. I have some cayenne red pepper, turmeric, bay leaves. This is lime juice. We actually freeze our citrus juice in like cubes in the freezer, and so it says juice of half a lime, so I just got out a couple of cubes. We'll see. I may not use it all. Some of it may go in a glass of water, but you know, I just want to have it out so that it can start melting so that I can use it for this recipe. Cilantro, I have my chicken breast. They only had split chicken breast. I don't know that it matters, but this is what they had at the store. Ginger paste, garlic I will turn into a paste myself. Jalapenos because it calls for a green chili, and that's what I'm going to use. An onion and butter. And then for the rice, they actually call for mint. And I thought we had some growing outside. Apparently we have killed it, or the cold has killed it. So our mint is dead, which is sort of funny because I always thought mint was a weed and it just does not want to die. It wants to grow like ivy and take over your house. But for whatever reason, our mint is dead. So I'm going to just be making some riced cauliflower with like an onion, and that's what we will mix. Hopefully our chicken is flavorful enough to flavor the rice, and it shouldn't make too big a difference because, I mean, honestly, it looks like the rice is sort of a base for this dish and the chicken is where the spices go. So I'm gonna put you guys up on the tripod and we're gonna get started. We're gonna start by making our spice mix. They say that you can use a store-bought biryani masala. I don't have one, so I'm gonna have to make my own biryani masala spice mix. Like I said, I don't have the whole spices, so I'm just going to be using my ground spices and hope that it works. It says the whole spice mix makes 4 teaspoons, so I'm just gonna have to guess on the measurements of these. I think I'm gonna get out the mortar and pestle for this, which is really exciting because I haven't used that in a really long time. But the measurements in here are for the whole spices and not for ground spices, and so the measurements are a little bit different. But I think it'll be fine. I think. Fingers crossed. Pray for me. So this says 1 teaspoon of fennel seeds. So, okay, I'll use a teaspoon of fennel seeds. But then the whole cloves, I'll probably just use a little bit less than a teaspoon of the cloves and the cardamom and the coriander. I hope that makes sense. I need a measuring spoon. And since this is my only whole spice, I'm gonna do this one first and grind it up. It says to roast them. I'm actually going to grind the fennel up first and then I will toast the spices, since everything else is gonna be ground already. All right, so I've got my fennel pretty well ground up. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm gonna show you what it looks like, if I can. It looks sort of like mown grass, and it smells really, really nice. This is coriander. I need a teaspoon of coriander seeds, so I'm gonna do about a teaspoon of coriander. Same for cardamom. I have no idea if my cardamom is from green cardamom pods. I'm just using it because it's what I have. Cloves, 1 teaspoon or thereabouts. And then cinnamon. Oh dear. I'm only doing about a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, mostly because we are out of cinnamon. Gonna mix this up, and I think I have changed my mind about toasting these spices. I'm just gonna skip that part. So I am just changing this recipe arbitrarily to fit my needs and my own convenience rather than anything else. So just kind of mixing this up. It does smell really, really good, but not very much like Indian food. It smells like, all I can smell is fennel. I like it. I don't know, when I think of fennel, I don't immediately go to Indian cuisine. Anyway, so this is done. The cookbook says to set 2 teaspoons of the ground spices aside for use now. Place the rest in an airtight container where it can be stored at room temperature for up to 3 months. So if this makes 4 teaspoons, which is what it says here, I can make this recipe twice with this spice mix, which is cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in a container. I'll measure out 2 teaspoons now, and then I'll put the rest in another container, clean up, and then we'll come back and we'll get the chicken going. So I've spent a little bit of time prepping my ingredients. I've cut my onion into half moons, which to me is just like a julienne shape. So they're just, whoops, cut into small, like half moons, like that. I'm actually not gonna put these in here yet. I'm still melting my butter, but my point is, I've prepped my ingredients, and I've also realized that the chicken that I bought for this is the wrong kind of chicken. So I bought split breasts instead of boneless, skinless chicken breasts. So my chicken breasts are bone-in. So instead of cutting them up into cubes, I'm just gonna cook them whole. And you know, we'll figure out taking out the bones later. But for right now, I'm gonna melt my butter, and then to this, we will add our onion, garlic, my jalapeno, which I have cut in half, and then I think the bay leaves go in next too. So for now, I'm not gonna worry about the chicken all that much. It's a little irritating, but not all that concerning because it's chicken. I don't think it's gonna make a huge difference at the moment. Anyway, we'll see. So I've got my onion and my garlic in there, and it smells so good. But I'm adding my jalapeno, and I just have this one, I cut it in half. I'm leaving the seeds and the ribs in, because I don't think it's gonna be all that hot, and Mom and I can handle some heat. So I'm just gonna put them in like that. And then it says to let this cook for about 3 minutes. I think I also need to add the ginger. So I wanna check my cookbook one more time. But so far I've got onion, garlic, and the jalapeno in there. So let's see what's next. Bay leaves go in now, and some fresh peeled ginger. It says 1.5 teaspoons. I don't fresh peel ginger ever. I really like this stir-in paste. The garlic is usually pretty good stuff too, but I just find this kind of ginger so much easier to work with than really any other kind of fresh ingredient. I just, like, ginger and turmeric are roots, and I don't want to have to worry about peeling them with a spoon the way that everybody says you should do it. Like, this is just easier for me. So this I will let cook for about 3 minutes, and then we will add the chicken, and then I think we cover it for a while. But I will come back in about 3 minutes. It's been several minutes. I have stirred this to keep the onion and garlic from burning. It has come sort of close. Now I'm gonna add my spices. I went ahead and I added the turmeric and the red pepper and salt to this mixture. So this is the biryani spice mix and the other spices for this recipe. And I'm just gonna add it in here. And this is gonna work as our toasting function, since I was supposed to toast the spices when I made the spice mix and I didn't. We'll just do that now. Now is also the time to add the chicken and the lime juice and the yogurt. So I'm gonna start with the lime juice because it's still frozen and I want that to go ahead and melt down. Next goes 2 tablespoons of yogurt, and I'm gonna go a little bit over on this. Mix that up. Now is also the time to add the coriander leaves, which, if you don't know, is actually cilantro, which I have cut up, not as fine as I would if I was using it as a garnish, because I'm really not all that worried about this being cut up small, since it's gonna be in with the chicken and the onions and the peppers and stuff. So I just kind of cut this up into smaller pieces, and I didn't really worry about mincing it really fine. And now goes the chicken. So now we cover this and we let it cook. They say for about 10 minutes. So we'll come back and check on the chicken in about 10 minutes, probably flip it. Since my chicken is still in large form and not in cubed form, I'm sure it's gonna cook a little bit slower than it would if it were cubed. So I'm gonna be patient with this step, but I will come back and check this in about 10 minutes, flip the chicken, but I'll show you that when we come back. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. Let's check on it. Okay, it smells amazing. It smells so good. Wow. And that chicken is really tender. Okay, so I've flipped my chicken and my onions actually look okay, so I'm not gonna worry about what's in the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and cover this back up. And I'm gonna leave this for 7 or 8 more minutes. And then I'll come back and we will start on the rice. It's been about another 8 minutes, I think, somewhere between 7 and 8 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and take the chicken out, if I can. The directions in the cookbook say to remove this from heat. I'm not gonna do that. Instead, I'm going to add the onion for the rice directly to this pan. And I'm just gonna go ahead and make the rice on top of this. It may not be right. So far, I've screwed everything else up. So I'm just ad-libbing this whole recipe at this point, and I kind of don't care. I think it's gonna be just fine. So I will say, it definitely smells like chicken biryani now. It smells so good. So I'm just going to saute these onions for a few minutes. The cookbook says to saute them for 5 minutes. The cookbook also says to do them on their own. So I'm just adding them to this because it makes more sense to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and cook the onions until they're a little bit softer, and then I will add my cauliflower rice directly to this. And I think that that will help get a lot of that flavor into the rice. In the meantime, I'm gonna shred my chicken. I was going to cube the chicken. I don't know why, but I think that this would be better if I shredded it. So I'm just gonna cook this. I'm gonna turn the heat up a little bit because it was on medium low. I'm gonna turn it up to medium and then go shred my chicken. Okay, I've shredded the chicken. The onions are cooking, but it's starting to dry out. So I'm gonna add my cauliflower rice, and I'm gonna do 2 bags. It is still frozen, and my plan is to cook this until the moisture disappears, and then I will stir in the chicken, and then we'll be done. Okay, so the cauliflower rice is cooked. Most of the water from the rice has cooked off. The cauliflower rice has cooked off. So I'm going to add my shredded chicken into this and let that heat back up, and then we're done. We'll do a taste test. So I've dished some up into a bowl, and I'm gonna do a taste test. We'll see if this is any good, worth making, worth posting. Sometimes I really crave a bowl of rice. Like this last weekend, I was really desperate for fried rice. In fact, I still kind of am. And I was hoping something like this would fill that craving. I don't know, we'll see. Like I said before, it smells amazing. It's really good. It's a little spicy, not too spicy, but it's a little spicy, which I like. It needs salt, for sure, more salt, but this is really yummy. The chicken is perfect. I'm really glad that I shredded it instead of cubing it. Somehow it really works. I think because the onions are like a similar shape to the shredded chicken. So to me, it just makes sense. I'm sure you could cube it and it would be fine, but I kind of like how I've modified this to make it different. I like it. Here's a final look at my keto chicken biryani. I still have my bay leaf. And here's the other one. That rarely happens. We can find them both so easily. So I think I'm actually going to pull these out while I can still find them. My jalapenos are still in here. Here's one half. The other half is over here. I'm actually going to leave those in there. I think those will be yummy to eat. Bay leaves are never yummy to eat. But there's a last look at that. Overall, I have to say, I kind of like this recipe. It's a little complicated. I don't know that I would call this quick and easy for beginners. Shubra does call this quick and easy for beginners. I don't know that I'd call it quick and easy for beginners. Or maybe Indian food is just much more complicated than anything else that I've made before. And so maybe this is quick and easy. I'd hate to see something not quick and easy. She's hungry. It's not their dinner time. Anyway, that's gonna be it for today. We've done a recipe testing. I'm not gonna do a recipe card for this one because it is not my recipe. I know I did a lot of modifications. I will have a picture of this recipe, the actual accurate recipe from the cookbook, available, but I will not make a recipe card for this because it's not mine. So new keto recipe is gonna go into our repertoire. This is gonna feed us for maybe a week. There's a lot of food in that pan over there on the stove. There's a lot of food there. I'm thinking 6 meals, easy 6 meals. Unless I get really hungry and I want a bunch of rice. She's so cute. Anyway, like I said, like I keep saying, that's it. You guys will see me in another video really soon. Bye.